Can the Bills continue their charge into the postseason at Los Angeles? And, of course, we got the Dallas Cowboys and Miami Dolphins. Both these teams need wins for playoff seeding. Currently, the 2 seed on 2 seed. All that and more coming up on this Christmas week of football games. Six-pack style next.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look into the NFL on the field and in the front office. With elite breakdowns, next-level analysis, and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Appreciate all the everydayers out there. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcast. Today's episode brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code, all lowercase, Locked On NFL for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, we got Thursday nighters, we got Saturday games, and we've got a triple header of Monday night Christmas Day games, Matt, that we're going to pick on Friday. We're going to focus on the earlier part of the week here, and some good holiday games starting with Saturday. Let's go Bengals at your Steelers, and this is a game where the Steelers are getting points at home. How confident are you on this version of the Steelers, and who's even playing quarterback for this home dog against the Jake Browning-led Cincinnati Bengals?
Boy, I've done a lot of Bengals homework, as you can imagine, and Browning's numbers are really impressive. They're very Brock Purdy-like, to be honest with you, in terms of efficiency, like all the metrics I really care about. And it's only been 3 weeks. But the only guy ahead of him and a lot of the stuff I really care about is Purdy. And he's well ahead of him. But, I mean, to even be mentioned in that neighborhood is really, really impressive. And they're getting the ball out of his hands quick and throwing to backs and throwing to tight ends. And the Steelers don't have any safeties. They basically don't have any linebackers. Like running backs and tight ends are destroying them. We're not going to see Jamar Chase. You'll see Porter on Higgins, which is an okay matchup. But you're going to see Mason Rudolph unless Pickett is limited in practice. It's not a 0% chance that he doesn't come back, but it's not going to be Trubisky. It's going to be Mason Rudolph for the simple reason of this. Trubisky just puts the ball in harm's way too much. And the Steelers formula, if they're to do anything well, is just they can't turn the ball over. They got to play it close to the vest. They got to run the football. And Rudolph values the football much more than Trubisky. I think Cincinnati's just in such a better place than the Steelers right now. I think there's a chance the Steelers lose out and end up with a 6-game losing streak to finish the season. I mean, the next couple games are harder than the ones they've lost. I think they're in a bad place, and I know they're home and all that good stuff. But, man, I mean, I think that Cincy's the much better team right now.
Pittsburgh weather, anything that could impact this one this weekend? I say that because it's raining like crazy over here on the West Coast, and this is the season for some bad weather football games that could really affect some lines, maybe keep things closer for some teams.
I don't think any crazy storms, but I would think there'll be a dusting, and it's going to be cold down by the rivers and windy, and it's probably some snow involved. But so these teams played in week 12, which doesn't seem that long ago. And the Steelers whipped up on them, to be honest with you. That's the only – remember, that was the fired – Matt Canada was fired. The Steelers played the Bengals, and they finally got to 400 yards. And my hometown thought the world was rosy and unicorns and all the – and then since then, they've been horrible. They've lost to the Cardinals, Patriots, and Colts. But since that game, the Bengals are basically 6th in total offense, where the Steelers are 30th. Like, since that game, they've just totally – been different teams. They're just trending the opposite directions.
Yeah, I hate the way the Steelers are trending. And for Browning, I mean, congratulations for Jake Browning. You mentioned what he's doing statistically right now to be mentioned in the same sentence with the greatest quarterback of our time, Brock Purdy. Amazing for him. I don't like that. I don't like that Jamar Chase isn't playing. I mean,
no.
I kind of want to go home dog here, and that's why I'm asking you about weather. I want to hear that Kenny Pickett's going to play because maybe that helps a little bit.
Be helpful. Not that he's great, but it'd be
I
helpful.
don't think I can do it. I got to take the Bengals.
Yeah, 2 seems like is that what you're looking at, 2? That's what I heard last.
Bengals, yeah. The Steelers are getting 2 points.
Yeah, I think that's too low. The Bengals D is not impressive, and they don't have DJ Reader in this game, but there's nothing going well right now for the Steelers. I mean, KZ's not the KZ's great, but like I said, they're not going to have both their starting safeties. I mean, they're playing a lot of replacement level guys down the middle of the defense.
Right, there we go. Both taking the Bengals here in our the first pick of our Christmas week 6-pack. All right. Buffalo Bills. Every game is a big one for the Buffalo Bills because of the hole they put themselves in the AFC playoff picture and the lack of tiebreakers that they may have versus some other teams, including those Cincinnati Bengals with some head-to-heads and other things. So the Bills are at Los Angeles, at those Chargers, who now are in the interim mode of their season, and 12-point home underdogs are those Chargers. Could they get that interim bump and ruin the Bills season? This is the most fascinating game to me on Saturday because of where these two teams are and some unknowns now for what that Chargers team might look like, except the one thing we do know is that Justin Herbert's not going to be running out of the tunnel. No.
And yeah, they're on the interim portion of their season, but I think they're in the dog crap version of their season, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm still angry with them for having to watch them Thursday night, and I'm such a fool that I started them in my fantasy league and got minus 14 points for their defense. I mean, and I end up losing by like 2. Anyway, so I have a standing rule now that's existed for the Niners for a couple weeks, but now exists for the Chargers in these picks. I don't care what the spread is. I'm picking the Niners. I don't care what the spread is. I'm not picking the Chargers. I don't care who they play, where they're at. I am going to take the favorite all day long. 11.5 is what I saw last year. I just don't care. I just think that the motivation for these two teams couldn't be any more different. The Bills are on fire. I am taking the Bills gloriously.
All right. I think we're both going to take the Bills. 12 points is a lot, but there's nothing I can really bank on with those Chargers. Maybe they do get the interim bump, but I'm certainly not going to bet on it. And I love the way the Bills are playing right now. They've looked great on offense under the new offensive coordinator there. So, let's go. Buffalo Bills giving up 12 points to start off this 6-pack with those Saturday games. We're going to look at the Thursday nighter last, Saints at Rams. And coming up next, a couple of really good ones. We've got a division matchup with the Lions and Vikings with playoff implications, and Cowboys, Dolphins, 2-seed on 2-seed coming up here on Sunday as well next. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. As the weather gets colder, NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 to bet with if your team wins that initial bet. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than right now to get in on the action. And you can use that extra $150, by the way, on spreads, player props, NFL over-unders, which team's going to win the Super Bowl. I love building my own parlays. The app is so easy to use. The website interface is easy to find anything you need, whether it's NFL bets, whether it's futures bets, whether it's college football playoff bets, whether it's Major League Baseball futures. Of course, we're in season on the NBA and the NHL. You can find a ton of it, motorsports, combat sports, snooker, everything you can imagine at FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. That is FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Lions and Vikings. It's the Nick Mullins-led Vikings, and it looked like it was going to go okay for those Vikings under Nick Mullins. They're in a tough spot, are the Minnesota Vikings here, with hosting the Detroit Lions. The 10-4 Lions currently sitting at the 3 seed. They need some help. They could climb up to the 2 seed conceivably, maybe with a lot of help end up with the 1 seed. But really what they could do is start to end the Viking season with all those 7-7 teams in the NFC right now. Favored by 3.5 on the road are those Vikings at the 7-7, or all those Lions at the 7-7 Vikings.
I do think the home road stuff for Jared Goff is real, but I think it's more weather than anything. And this is a dome, and yeah, it'll be loud and all that. And I've got a lot of respect for Flores with that Viking defense that is really overachieving in my opinion, but I'm still taking the Lions. I think their offense is one of the best in the league. That offensive line makes the whole thing go well. I'm a little hesitant to back the Lions defense just after one decent game, but I also have my doubts about this Vikings situation when they have the ball. Like Ty Chandler's a nice story, and they should feed him more. And I like their receivers, but I just think the quarterback is problematic in Minnesota. So I'm going to take the Lions here.
Yeah, and I think the track kind of helps. I agree with you with the Rams and the way they play with Gibbs and a Goff at quarterback. You like playing in a dome scenario. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad weather road situation here in December for the Detroit Lions, and they're just a better football team.
Yeah,
and that's the difference for me. And 3.5 isn't a huge amount, and I could see the Vikings staying pesky and knocking off the Lions, but they're that number again. I mean, this is 3 for 3 for us, Matt, with the road favorites. I'm going to take the Lions and give up the 3.5.
Yeah, don't love that aspect of it, but hey, I'm just picking like I see them.
Yeah, I'm a road dog guy too, but this week it's not lining up for me to take those, and I know one of them's going to hit, but I just don't feel confident on betting any of them here in our Week 16 Christmas 6-pack. How about this one, Matt? This is a game I love and I'm really excited for. Did you have another note on the Lions Vikings?
Not really. No. Okay.
How about the Cowboys? We got the Dallas Cowboys at 10-4. They are at the 10-4 Dolphins. This is a rough East Coast swing for those Cowboys, and they lost bad last week to the Bills, and now they've got the Dolphins of the AFC East. The Dolphins are at home, favored by 1.5 points. Both of these teams have had a tough time beating good teams. So will we even learn anything from this game, Matt? Is it like the what do you even call that? Double entendre? No, that's not it. What's the word for this situation where you have two teams and you're not sure if they're good because they're not beating good teams, and then they face each other. So if they beat the other team, does that still mean that they beat a good team? I don't know. I don't know what to expect in this game.
Yeah.
So it just makes me kind of want to take the points, except that the Dolphins are really good run on the football, and we saw the Cowboys get gouged on the ground last week.
Yeah, you said a lot there that I very much agree with, that both these teams really need a signature win, and Dallas did beat Philly recently, but is Philly a good team? This version of the Eagles isn't a Super Bowl-looking caliber team either. Man, what quarterback do you trust more? I think I trust Dak more. I like both offenses a lot, and I don't really worry about the Cowboys' offense, even though last week was a stinker.
I think you have to trust Dak more at home, but I trust Tua more in Miami.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
I think maybe the way to go would be and look, you got Tua is a big one here, because I don't think we're gonna quite know if Tua is gonna be able to play here. And everything I've seen, it might be a game time situation to
Tyreek you're talking about?
I mean, sorry, Tyreek.
Yeah.
Tyreek, because obviously that's huge.
I'm expecting him to.
You like Tua more when Tyreek is playing, right? So
sure.
It's a pretty big deal. I do like Miami here. I think the home road thing is real for the Cowboys too, and it's actually pretty real for the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. And so that's the venue, 1.5 points. I'm gonna go take the Dolphins at home and give up the 1.5. I'm gonna go Dolphins by a field goal in this one.
The Dallas pass rush worries me, because I think the O-line for Miami's pretty questionable, and Parsons could take this game over. But I'm really taking the Dolphins because I think their defense is the better of the two, and certainly is playing much better than in recent memory. They kind of did a lot of this last week, but I could see Ramsey just following CeeDee Lamb, which all of a sudden you got to count on Cooks and Ferguson and those type of guys, and what could be a real high-scoring game. I'm looking at an over-under of 51, which has to be one of the highest of the league. Weather's not going to be a problem. Highest of the week, I'll take the home team here. It's just not a big enough number. I like the home team here.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We're agreeing a little bit.
I know, too much.
Here's a stinker of a game, but can the Panthers salvage a little something and ruin the first overall pick for the Chicago Bears while they're doing it? Coming off a big win against the Falcons last week, the Panthers are home dogs here. They're getting 5 points against the Green Bay Packers. Which Green Bay Packers team is going to show up at Carolina in Week 16, Matt? 5-point home underdog Carolina Panthers.
By no means am I willing to say Carolina turned any kind of corner last week. I mean, they got a win. They played hard in the rain. They give Chuba the ball a lot. Okay, and they have some pieces on defense. I'll certainly admit that. And boy, do I dislike how the Packers defense is playing right now too. So there's that. But I just think Green Bay has so much more talent. And I don't think the Packers offense has been a real problem for them. I think Love is a success story and is light years ahead of where the Panthers offense is right now. So I think on the back of Green Bay's offense all around, Aaron Jones, good young receiving core, I'm going to take the Packers pretty comfortably here.
Yeah, I like the Packers, and I think Packers win this one by at least a touchdown, maybe multiple touchdowns. I think we're going to see, good job Panthers. Weird game, rain. I just think the Packers are such a better football team, and the job Joe Barry's doing on the defense is not good with the Green Bay Packers, and he's the coach. I think his job has been called for the second most and the most after Matt Canada's offensive coordinator, was actually ended with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Matt LaFleur said this week he's going to spend some more time on the defense too. So clearly they know it's a problem, and if they do get that fixed, they're too good for the Carolina Panthers. So nice win last week, Panthers. It's not going to be a theme, and I think it's the 2 step back, 1 step forward Packers. This is the step forward week against an inferior opponent. So yeah, give me those Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I thought this line would be over a touchdown.
Probably should be. And in last week's game allows you to get a little bit better number, I think, for the Packers because of how things, the recency.
Probably it.
Panthers. Next, we've got Colts Falcons. This is a line that surprises me. It's my easiest line of the week to choose, which means I will probably get it wrong. And then we've got the Thursday nighter to kick off week 16 with the Saints at Rams next. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by DoorDash, and there's nothing I associate more with football than food, and it's probably why that quarantine 15 hit me so hard and is never going to come off, Matt, is because my job is football, so I think about food a lot as well, and you can get a very special offer here with DoorDash because you are a Locked On listener. So stay tuned for that and order up pizza, wings, soda, burgers, whatever it is you need when you're watching football on Thursday. Now we got Saturdays. Now we got Sundays. We got Mondays. We've got holidays. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of cooking going on for a lot of you, but some of you don't want to cook. So let DoorDash do the work and bring that right to your door and get 50% off while you're doing it. Get 50% off up to $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and enter code LOCKED23. Subject to change, terms apply. Again, that's 50% off up to $10 value. Don't forget to use LOCKED23 as your code. LOCKED23 will get you 50% off up to $10 value on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and spend $15 or more. We've got the Colts at the Falcons. The Falcons are at home favored, Matt.
Yeah.
How are the Atlanta Falcons? We just talked about on the mailbag pod yesterday how Arthur Smith probably on the hot seat, and this is an underachieving football team that is playing against a team that's fighting for their playoff life, that's been playing some really good football recently. You got the Colts at the Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 1, and I don't like it at all. This is an easy one for me. Give me the I'm going to lock this one up, man. Give me the Indianapolis Colts. And I'm even getting the point at the Falcons Sunday, man.
I don't get it either. I mean, you and I are agreeing too much. Maybe it's just the holiday season and we're all chummy and all that great stuff. But I'm really impressed with the Colts. I think they're very well coached. I think their defensive front is something I vastly underrated this past week. I mean, when they whipped up on the Steelers, they rushed the passer really, really well. But I do want to give the Falcons defense credit. I think the defense is much improved from a year ago. And, we had a good conversation earlier in the week about Arthur Smith. It's not the defense's fault. The defense is playing quite well. I would probably say it's the 10th best D in the league or something along those lines lately, which I'll take. I just worry about Ritter and Keenum. It looks like they're going back to Keenum. It doesn't even matter to me. And I don't like how they allocate the football, of course. I just like what the Colts are doing a lot. So I'm kind of hoping they end up in the playoffs just because I think they're fun. I think they win this game going away.
Yeah, the Colts are the Falcons are at home, so they have that going for them here. But the Colts are a better coach team, in my opinion. I think they're good up front on both sides of the ball. Congratulations, by the way, to Michael Pittman, who's going over 1,000 yards already. He's got 1,062. He's got 99 catches, so he's going to have a 100 catch, 1,000-yard season here from quarterback Gardner Minshew. And while Gardner Minshew isn't the greatest quarterback in the league, I think the Colts win in that category as well. So I don't see where the Falcons are better, and I like the way just that the Colts are playing right now versus where the Falcons are. So, yeah.
I think Pittman plays, too. I mean, everyone saw that huge hit he took here.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to play. Yeah.
We have 1 second here to talk about that. I hate the penalty on that because it's such a brutal hit, but it's like, what does the defender do? It's almost to the point where if you purposely throw a hospital ball in the NFL, that's the best thing you can do because guys can't hit you. And if they hit you, you get an extra 15.
Yeah, it's always going to be a penalty. I'm not trying to be a homer. I have no problem with a penalty. I thought an ejection was over the top. And to suspend him for the rest of the season and the playoffs, which they're not going to go to, but I thought it was obscene, to be very honest with you.
It's crazy. And you're trying to go low, too, and it's a split second. You don't know that the receiver is going to end up where he ends up.
Yeah, I had a real problem with that. But it's always going to be a flag. I certainly get that. I mean, any huge collision, scary play gets a flag in today's NFL. Cool. I concede that,
You see it a lot with quarterback runs too, where guys are slowing down and it's really helping the quarterback get extra yards because they're anticipating and the slide and don't want to hit a guy. And it's getting to the point where, it's better for a DB just to let a guy make a catch and grab him and tackle him on the ground. It's better.
And those guys don't want you going with their knees either.
Right.
I don't know. I think the league has a problem,
It is a problem, and it's too hard to officiate. How about this one? This is to finish up our 6-pack Christmas games, Week 16. This one is December 21st tonight, Thursday nighter. Saints at Rams. 7-7 Saints fighting for a playoff spot. 7-7 Rams fighting for a playoff spot. The home Rams favored by 4, and certainly the Rams are playing better ball right now. How do you see this one going Thursday?
Yeah, I'm a little shocked. This line's only 4 as well. I mean, as we're recording this, it hasn't been announced if Chris Olave is going to play or not. I thought he was close last week. I think he's a real difference maker for them. It's a lot less dink and dunk when he's in the game. I like what the Saints defense has done, but I just have bad Saints vibes. I mean, I think there could be a coaching change there. I don't think that they're behind their quarterback, where the opposite is true for me with the Rams. I mean, McVay right now, there's a lot of really good candidates, but McVay would be my coach of the year as it stands today. I mean, Houston's got Houston, Cleveland. There's some other ones that have good cases, but the Rams offense is playing basically as well as any in the league, not named San Francisco, and their defense is way outkicked their coverage. I mean, it's Aaron Donald and the Pips, and they're fine on that side of the ball. So I think they win this game pretty big, to be honest with you.
I'll say this, Matthew Stafford's for sure playing the best quarterback of anybody in this game, and he's playing phenomenally right now, and his stats don't look amazing, but some of the throws he's making week to week, and obviously he's got a couple of playmakers to throw the ball to, and Kyron Williams on offense. So yeah, I'm not worried about how things are going on the Rams offense right now, and they're getting good enough offensive line play. Even though, the resources haven't really been there for, is still kind of a no-name team when you look at the roster as a whole, but they're playing good football. And I agree with you with how this team's being coached. And so you got the quarterback, you got the coach. And if you're just based on vibes, and maybe that's what, that's what our friends at FanDuel are doing here with the Rams favored by 4. When you go by vibes, yeah, they should be favored even as these teams do look. And it's at the Rams' house and not in the Saints' house. If it was in the Saints' house, I would want to take points with the Saints. But since it's in LA, with the way these two teams are playing, based on vibes, it's Christmas season. Come on. I think it's the Los Angeles Rams, like the way McVay has his units going. 4 points is kind of a lot, but I'm going to take the Rams. I just like Now, you know what? 4 points is too much, man. It's too even.
We can't agree on all 6. Come on.
The NFL's too crazy. It's chaos. Give me the Saints.
They need it. I mean, they go a long way.
Do this next year? Let's do a bet against the vibes, and I bet you'll do really well in the NFL because the way you think it's going, all it takes is 4 days, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, it's not going that way anymore.
Maybe vibes are all made up.
Bet against the vibes.
Yeah.
All right. Give me the Saints. This is a bet against the vibes. I can't agree with Williamson in our 6-pack. Give me the Saints, and I'm going to take those 4 points.
I understand it.
Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen. That is our Week 16 six-pack. Matt and I will be back Friday to make the rest of the picks, including those Christmas Day, Monday night triple header games right here, Peacock and Williamson.